Hello everyone, welcome to StudyIQ IS English channel. My name is Shubham Sagar and today we'll do the Hindu analysis of 14th July 2025. So without wasting any time, let's start the discussion and good morning guys and Jivayan, Anandu, Rishi, Shayada, Shriparna, Kaijan again and he's saying good morning to Shriparna, Jivayan and let's start the discussion. So I have said good morning to everyone. So again, today's Hindu analysis PDF, I will share it in the Telegram channel Fun Study with you by 10:30 a.m. by or before 10:30 a.m. If something doesn't come up in between, something or some emergency doesn't come up in between. Best of luck for your journey. Which journey is Rishi going on? Oh, Paramarth. So, okay, let's start the discussion, bros. So first article of the day, which is there on page 6 editorial, assessing India's carbon credit trading scheme targets. Again, this is a very technical article. There are certain keywords here which we have to understand. One of the most important articles of the day, environment plus GS3 energy. So here, if we pay attention to certain keywords, and we have to understand this article. If you don't understand this article, you can ask me again tomorrow. We'll solve multiple questions. But this article is very important for you. This editorial is very important for all of you. How do you make PPT so quick? Because, I am awesome. As Barney Stinson used to say in How I Met Your Mother. So page 6 editorial assessing India's carbon credit. Please, sir, let's focus here. So this article has been written by two people. Again, we'll go into no need of going into the intricacies of these two people. Let's, again, with due respect to these two people. But the article is awesome. Although a lot technical. So pay attention to certain words here. CCTS, Carbon Credit Trading Scheme. And then you have another, that is PAT. Perform, achieve and trade. So these are two words which are actually very important from exam perspective, and we have to. Good morning Kirtana, Risha, Saujanya. Cool. So now let's try to understand. Carbon trading credits means carbon credit trading scheme. So here what will happen? You may have heard about it if you have followed environment, if you have followed, India's NDC, nationally determined contribution, UNFCCC. Again, even if you haven't COP, conference of parties, you will understand everything. Be with me. So carbon credit trading scheme, what happens? So here there are mechanisms which are developed that different industries, different manufacturing units, they have to reduce carbon emission. In general, that is the basic target of carbon credit trading scheme. Now PAT, perform, achieve and trade, which was launched around 2012. This carbon credit trading scheme was launched around 2023. You will understand each and everything. Be with me. At the end, we'll solve MCQs, which will, strengthen your concept. So perform, achieve and trade, they are not same. PAT and CCTS, they're not same. Here they're talking about energy efficiency. In PAT, they talk about energy efficiency. In CCTS, they're talking about carbon efficiency. Energy efficiency is not equal to carbon efficiency. Please understand this. The sooner you understand, the better it is for you. Let me recap again. CCTS focusing on carbon efficiency and PAT focuses on energy efficiency. Sometimes what happens in most of the cases, energy efficiency leads to carbon efficiency, but not always. Okay, let me again make things simpler for you. When we are saying that PAT is focusing on energy efficiency and CCTS is focusing on carbon efficiency, what do I mean by that? So CCTS, the aim is different manufacturing units, they should reduce CO2 emission. Simple terms. Here, PAT aim is not reducing CO2 emission. Maybe that is the indirect aim. The direct aim is reducing energy, means, energy used per unit output. Let's try to understand. So let's say there is an industry which makes sodium chloride or which makes gypsum or which makes cement. So when they're making cement, they're using some energy. When they're making electricity, they're using some energy. So PAT focuses on using lesser energy to produce each unit of output. So here the focus is on energy efficiency. On the other hand, CCTS focuses on carbon efficiency. Please understand this. This is very important. And I have seen it in my tenure also when I was preparing. Most of the people don't understand these things. So you will understand. Okay, we'll talk about all these things. First of all, let's go to the comparative analysis, which is the most important part. So let's focus on these two words, PAT and CCTS. Perform, achieve, trade 2012, CCTS 2023, both lies under Ministry of Power, but the focus is different. PAT focuses on energy efficiency, as we have just discussed. Okay, so energy efficiency means per unit output production, you should use lesser and lesser energy. On the other hand, CCTS, they are focusing on carbon emission reduction. Fine. And here certificates are there in both the cases, energy saving certificate, carbon credit, etc. We will understand how they work. Coverage, energy intensive industry, emission intensive industry. Let's try to understand what I told you. If a particular sector, they reduces energy per unit output, generally it leads to lesser CO2 emission, but not always. There are certain sectors which are carbon efficient but not energy efficient, like solar energy. So when you talk about solar energy, they will reduce carbon emission, but they are not energy efficient. That's why people focuses towards, or companies focuses towards, or government focuses towards coal power plants. Coal power plants are energy efficient, but they are not CO2 or carbon emission efficient. Hope you are understanding. But in general, the rule is if you are reducing energy per unit output, more often than not, your CO2 emission or carbon reduction will also happen. So again, Shilpa, Gypsum, Sri Durga, are you understanding some part of it? So again, Energy Conservation Act, Energy Conservation Act. The objective of PAT is reduce energy use per unit of output. CCTS is cut GHG emissions per unit of output. So again, PAT also indirectly leads to GHG emissions, but not always. Hope you are understanding some part of it. Am I clear? Am I even like 10-20% clear? Now let's talk about this whole scheme, what this editorial is talking about. So now this editorial is focusing on CCTS and they have some issues. What they are saying is that Indian government has announced some policies. What policy they have announced? They have set greenhouse gas emissions for 8 heavy industrial sectors under carbon credit trading scheme. Earlier what used to happen, Indian government was not concerned about individual industry. They used to set it for all the industries, like all in all, different like 8 industrial sectors in general combined, they should emit less carbon. That was the aim. But now they are setting individual target, that aluminium industry, cement industry, chlor-alkali, they are related to chlorine production, salt production and all those, sodium chloride production. So all these industries individually also should do less carbon emission. These two authors, they are not agreeing with this whole phenomena. We have just seen the difference between CCTS and PAT, which is one of the most important thing for today's Hindu. Like if you understand that, you are understanding most of the things. So now these two authors, they are saying that earlier, whatever Indian government used to do, when they were not concerned with each individual industry, they were concerned with 8 core industry in general, how they are performing, whether they are reducing carbon emission in totality or not. That was actually the better thing rather than what is happening currently when they are focusing on individual companies or, sectors. You will understand. Let's just be with me. So aluminium, cement, these industries are there, and now Indian government has set greenhouse gas emission intensity target for each of them. Article argues that the ambitions of carbon market target should be assessed at the aggregate economy wide level. You should combine all these industries at the economic wide level, look into it rather than focusing on individual entities or sectors, because this can happen that, let's say, aluminium emits a lot of carbon, which is offset by, let's say, textile industry. Textile industry emits less carbon. So this can, and don't focus on it individually, focus on it on economy wide level. That is what these two authors are talking about, what used to happen earlier. Under the PAT scheme, entities had mixed result in energy intensity changes. For example, you can see here, energy intensity increased in paper and chlor-alkali, but decreased in aluminium and cement. And in general, it decreased. So it was okay. But now things will be not okay because government wants, here the carbon emission target is there, unlike PAT where they were focusing on energy. So here again, they are focusing on each and every sector individually. So these two authors, they are not agreeing with this. They are saying that despite, and again, overall less energy was used to produce the same output when looking at the 4 sectors together. So let's look at them together rather than looking at them individually. Market mechanism, despite differing result at the sector level, aggregate energy efficiency improved under PAT, perform, achieve, trade, focus on energy efficiency, CCTS, focus on carbon efficiency. And here also, there were trade efficiency certificate. What is the meaning of it? So under PAT, let's say aluminium was there, let's say cement was there. So aluminium, let's say they used to produce, or they used to produce 270 energy units in the preceding 2017 to 2020. Now there was a target which was given under PAT that you reduce it by 30. You try to do it, produce or use 240 energy units to produce same level of output, 240 for 2021 to 2023. Now let's say they reduced it even more than that. They reduced it to 220. Then they will have 20 certificates. This E-cert. Again, let me rewind it. So what used to happen in PAT, they are focusing on energy efficiency. So earlier, let's say aluminium industry was producing 270 energy units for like production of different level of output. So now the PAT has given them a target that produce the same level of output at 240 energy units. And this is your aim, reduce it by 30 units. 30 unit is your target. But what they did, this aluminium industry, they surpassed it. They surpassed it by 20 units and they are creating 50 units or they saved 50 units. So now this 20 unit is their energy certificate. Let's say cement industry is using 20 units more, they can sell it to them. So that's how this energy or certificates used to work earlier. So again, an important concept. Good morning, Mamta. So this is a very, very tricky part. This is actually a very technical article. And once you go through it again, you will solve questions, you will understand. So success of emission trading scheme should be judged by overall reduction in emission intensity, not individual compliance. That's what this article and these two authors or editorial is talking about continuously. Focus should be on whether the aggregate target is aggressive enough to align with national climate goals. Now let's focus here. And final takeaway, again, you can read this. India's climate ambition must be judged by aggregate emissions rather than focusing on individual sectors. This was the difference between PAT and CCTS. Just remember, PAT energy, CCTS carbon emission, and energy efficiency carbon emission. They are not same, they are not equal. They sound same, but they are different. Same, but different. Good morning, Chandru sir. If they achieve 240, they won't get any certificate. No, they won't get any certificate. That was the target. They achieved that. They won't get any certificate. If they go beyond that, they will achieve, means get certificate. Shayada. So that is the basic premise. Okay, now let's solve some questions so that you can remember these things in a better manner. Which of the following correctly distinguishes the PAT scheme from the CCTS? Have a look at this. So PAT targets carbon intensity, CCTS targets energy efficiency. PAT is legally binding, CCTS is voluntary. PAT trades energy savings, CCTS trades carbon credits. PAT is administered by SIR, CCTS by Niti Aayog. So Shayada, Swastika, Shriparna, Jeevayan, Rajneesh, Kirtana, Anandu. So PAT, perform, achieve, trade, focuses on energy saving. CCTS, they talk about carbon credit, carbon efficiency, energy efficiency. They sound same, but they're not same. C is the answer as stated by almost all of you. Cool. Now let's focus on MCQ 2. Again, if you understand this editorial, even 20, 30, 40% of it, you people are awesome. Consider the following statement regarding energy efficiency and carbon efficiency. Energy efficiency always leads to better carbon efficiency. A solar powered plant may have low energy efficiency but high carbon efficiency. Carbon efficiency refers to reduction of energy used per unit of output. Good morning, Gauri. Here I am little. So in our time, there used to be an actor. His name was Shah Rukh Khan, and he had a, his wife's name was Gauri. Okay, so energy efficiency always leads to better carbon efficiency. We have talked about PAT, we have talked about CCTS. You have to go into detail, like you have to revise this article editorial in a, and then you will understand things in a better manner, but I think you have already got the gist. Energy efficiency do not always leads to better carbon efficiency. We can understand it from coal power plant and solar power plant example. Coal power plant are much more energy efficient than solar power plant. In solar power plant, you extract so much energy, you produce so less electricity, so much things are dependent upon whether electricity will be produced by solar power plant or not. So solar power plant, they are not energy efficient that much as compared to coal power plant, but they are carbon efficient. So it doesn't mean that energy efficiency always leads to better carbon efficiency. Coal power plant, energy efficient, but they are not carbon efficient. They emit a lot of CO2. So first is wrong. And again, if you don't understand it, you can ask me tomorrow also, please. This is important. Good morning, Kharbadon. So now, first is gone. You're left with B and C. Solar power plant may have a low energy efficiency but high carbon efficiency. And that's why more and more governments are shifting towards solar power plant. Because, okay, energy we can trade off a bit, but carbon efficiency or carbon emission is an immediate, issue right now because of what is happening, global warming and this and that. So yes, second is correct. Second is correct. Second is correct. You don't even need to go for second, because in B and C you have second. Carbon efficiency refers to reduction of energy used per unit. Carbon efficiency refers to reduction of carbon used per unit of output, or CO2 emission, reduction of CO2 per unit of output. Energy efficiency refers to reduction of energy used per unit of output. So third is wrong. The answer is B2 only. Again, a tricky question, and these are the kind of articles we actually live for in Hindu. Shayada, Anandu, Shamriddhi, Gauri, Prajwal, Shiparna, they have given the answer. Good morning. Good morning, Kannada guy, friend. So, MCQ 3. Which of the following strategies directly improve carbon efficiency but may not improve energy efficiency? Installing energy efficient motors, reducing standby losses in electric equipment. You can have a look at the other two options. Okay, so many people gave the answer. Installing energy efficient motors. They are talking about it will improve carbon efficiency, but it will not improve energy efficiency. The answer is using solar power panels instead of diesel generator. So solar panels will improve your carbon efficiency, but it will not improve energy efficiency. Energy used to produce 1 unit of output will be higher in solar panel as compared to diesel generator. They will produce more electricity for the same energy unit as taken by solar panels, but solar panels will be more environment friendly. So you have to understand that. So the answer is D, as stated by who? Anandu, Shriparna, and Swastika, Gauri, Jivayan. So D is the answer. Again, a tricky question. Please revise this editorial, you will understand. Let's go to page number 7, opinion. So in today's, like Saturday, there were not many. Generally on Saturdays, you don't have good editorials and opinions. But today, there were so many good editorials and opinion. I was like very confused what to tell you, what to leave and all. So again, page 7, opinion. Time is apt to restore JNK's statehood. All of you, all of you know about what is carbon credit, sir. So carbon credit is what? Just like energy certificates, you have carbon credit, Carbadon. So carbon credit is, again, let's say, carbon emission. How much carbon emission a particular sector will do? There will be a target which will be set up by particular entities, nationally or internationally, that you have to emit 240 carbon credits. And if let's say you reduce it to and you emitted only 220 carbon credits CC, then you will get 220 carbon certificates which you can trade with other companies which have emitted more carbon. So that is basically same as energy credit certificate, but they are not exactly, the meaning is exactly not same. Gauri Ritu Gopalia. Today is Monday and that's why we have so many good articles. On Saturdays, you generally don't have good editorials and opinions. Let's focus here. So what is your opinion on Jammu and Kashmir statehood? Do you think we should restore statehood in Jammu and Kashmir? Or you feel like, no, we should not restore statehood in Jammu and Kashmir? According to Supreme Court 2023 judgment, Supreme Court is saying that we should restore statehood in Jammu and Kashmir. Time has come. In this 2023 judgment, they have not explicitly defined which particular, like when it should happen. But according to the murmurs, which is going on in political circle, it is believed that by August this year, statehood will be restored. So we are currently in what? July. So in August, very, very high probability that Jammu and Kashmir statehood will be restored. Do you support it? You do not support it. Please explain examples related to what? Kannada friend of mine. I had network issues, so it was buffering. Since long time I wasn't live, AI would be watch the missed session later. Okay, cool. Let's focus here. Let's focus on this particular issue. And that PAT and the CCTS which we have discussed. You go back here. This you have to revise, and the more you revise, the more you'll be able to solve it. This is an important editorial, you have to understand it. Okay, let's focus here. So statehood, this is a very sensitive topic. Even today you may feel like, sir, yes, statehood should be restored. No, this is not a yes or no answer. Most of the people, they feel like no, Jammu and Kashmir during the period of this when statehood was not there, it saw relative peace in this. So we should not establish statehood. But according to other political experts, and again Supreme Court also, statehood has to be restored because that means giving power to the people of Jammu and Kashmir. According to this particular opinion on page number 7, things have changed, and then they are talking about one particular term which is very important, which we have to understand from exam perspective. So this edit means opinion important from both pre as well as mains perspective. What is your view, sir and ma'am? Like, what do you understand? We have discussed this, Kannada, and please go back. I think you joined late. We have discussed everything in detail related to PAT and CCTS. So again, let's focus. What is your view? Do you support J&K statehood or not? Let's go into the intricacies of this opinion. So again, the author is saying that there has been visible development, things are changing for the better in Jammu and Kashmir. That whole thing which happened in Pahalgam, that was an exception, that was not a norm. In fact, many people say that whole thing happened in Pahalgam to discourage the development which has started happening in Jammu and Kashmir now. People are not supporting. There is a portion of population that has moved on from separatist narratives, but they are hesitant to say so publicly. To break that whole thing, to break the whole development which is happening in Jammu and Kashmir, to break that angle, this whole killing of innocent tourists happened. So again, better transportation network have enhanced service access. You can see here, decline in civilian killings and militant recruitment. All the things are hunky-dory. Good things are happening. That's why they don't encourage. We must restore statehood. That's why they don't encourage statehood. We'll understand why statehood has to happen or why not. Again, you can see here, fear remains over the unresolved political status and they delay in restoring statehood. If you're not restoring statehood, what happens when Bihar becomes a state or, UP is a state? Even now, if let's say Abdullah sir, he is the CM, he is the CM, but he does not have enough power as the CM of a state would have, because this is a UT, Union Territory. Police, law and order, these things, they are not under your control even in Delhi. And that's what Arvind Kejriwal sir used to say earlier. UT has limited power as compared to a state. So that is the issue, that who is the people's representative in Jammu and Kashmir, according to this editorial in Supreme Court. Let's listen, hear me out and then you will understand. The delay in restoring statehood breeds uncertainty. A political roadmap is essential to ensure long-term peace and democratic stability. Yes, Article 370 removed, everything is awesome. But you need to give statehood to Jammu and Kashmir. Jammu Kashmir is not as small that, UT will suffice for them. That applies to Puducherry, Pondicherry, Delhi, but Jammu and Kashmir is big. You need people's mandate. And people's mandate is Umar Abdullah is the CM. But does he have enough power? The answer is no. So you have to give him enough power. You cannot create proxies. That's what Supreme Court is saying. That's what this editorial is saying. Okay. No, sir. Jivan is saying no. Controlled by center mostly, UT position is better to JK. I read the article, it was written, more and more Kashmiris were removing gun tattoos. It shows they are changing for good. Very good, Vishwas. Vishwas is a good girl. Okay, let's focus here. So now, our opinion don't matter, sir and ma'am. What Supreme Court says, what central government says, that matter. So this whole statehood thing, we are not saying it. Supreme Court recommended restoring statehood but did not set a deadline, because they are saying there should be a people's mandate. Things are changing for better in Kashmir. If you want that thing to go on, you have to give them some amount of power. You have already taken a lot of power after removing Article 370. Give them at least some ambit of power. You have Umar Abdullah, who is a trusted leader there. Again, we people can have different opinions. Shri Parna can have different opinions. Jivayan can think something else about Umar Abdullah and this and that. But this is not about us. This is about Supreme Court and central government. Their views actually matter. So significance of 2024 assembly election. Now there is another skepticism. As we have discussed, the thought which is going on in political circle is by August of this particular year, statehood will be given to J&K. But then there is another murmurs which is going on that again an election will happen, assembly election will happen. This is this, like, people are very, very angry about it, that in 2024 you have assembly election, you will give statehood and then again you will have assembly election. In a way, you are undermining the Umar Abdullah government. This is not good. So again, central government has to address those murmurs. Umar Abdullah emerged as a trusted leader. You can see these things. New Delhi should work with Umar Abdullah, according to editorial, and Supreme Court undermining mainstream secular leaders with proxies. They are saying that central government should not create their own proxy leaders who people are not agreeing with or who people do not accept as leaders. They have to engage with Umar Abdullah sooner rather than later. And they have to give him power, which a CM should have of a state, not a UT. Again, I read an article. Okay. So now, challenges faced by Umar Abdullah. He has limited authority over bureaucrats because it happens in a UT as it happened in Delhi and Puducherry. This creates voter dissatisfaction and internal party criticism. So this whole thing happened in Pahalgam. People were like, what Umar Abdullah is doing? Umar Abdullah is like, I don't have control over law and order, this and that, because it's just a UT. So people have justification. Maybe if Jammu and Kashmir was a state, we could have asked more questions from Umar Abdullah. Why this whole thing happened in Pahalgam? So that is the thing. And again, voter will ask questions from Umar Abdullah. What are you doing? He always have a justification that we are just a UT, union territory. We don't have enough power. We cannot do this, we cannot do that. Give them statehood and then they cannot make these kind of excuses. So that is another point which we have to keep in mind. Possibility of statehood restoration. Sources suggest statehood might be restored in August. Inshallah. So recognizing the people's will would generate more optimism than only economic growth. So editorial, Supreme Court, everybody is talking about restoring statehood. Supreme Court stated it as early as 2023. Speculations. Reports about another election post-statehood caused unrest, because just recently in 2024 you have assembly elections. Why should you have elections after announcing statehood in August? Another assembly election is unlikely. Lack of clarity fuels public unease. Regional divide. And Jammu and Kashmir, Jammu versus Kashmir issue is also going on right now there. So this has to be resolved rather, and the best way is to give some power to the government which is there by giving statehood. There is a need for SHRC, State Human Rights Commission. And now the key word of this particular article, Truth and Reconciliation Commission. What is the basic meaning of Truth and Reconciliation Commission? What do you understand? Statehood should be allotted to J&K according to Shilpa. Very good, Shilpa. Where are you from, Shilpa? So now there is a word here, Truth and Reconciliation Commission. Anybody? Can you take a guess? What is this TRC? Truth and Reconciliation Commission. So in South Africa, apartheid happened, segregation of white people, non-white people, so much people faced, black people so-called. And after this whole thing, apartheid was abolished, there was a commission which was established in South Africa to look into the atrocities, past atrocities which were committed, just to give a closure to the people who faced those issues. It's not like always a criminal prosecution has to happen, this and that. No. Establish a Truth and Reconciliation Commission to look into the past atrocities. Similarly, even central government, Supreme Court is saying that statehood has to be given, plus a Truth and Reconciliation Commission has to be established. There was a movie in our time which was known as Haider. In Haider, they showed some atrocities. And now, it's not only about what Indian army committed atrocities on Kashmiri people, this and that. No, even the terrorists who has come, what atrocities they committed. So we should have a Truth and Reconciliation Commission according to Supreme Court advice. It's not like, again, you do criminal prosecution, this and that. It's totally up to you, may or may not. But at least give people a closure that some amount of atrocities have been committed on Kashmiri people, so that they become more and more closer to the Indian mainland. That is the basic meaning of Truth and Reconciliation Commission. Hope you are understanding this. Nelson Mandela fought against it. Exactly, Shahida. People will feel a sense of responsibility and ownership. Why Jammu and Kashmir wants division? Because Jammu versus Kashmir, their demography is different. For that, you have to understand this whole case, the state, like 1947, Jammu and Kashmir, Muslim majority population, all in all, ruled by a Hindu king, and even Muslim majority population, all in all, in Jammu and Kashmir. But even within Jammu and Kashmir, there are demographic divisions. So we can have a talk about this later on. First of all, let's focus on this particular editorial and opinion rather, and the things related to it. Solve this MCQ. They don't want division, they're fighting among themselves. Not exactly division, Jivayan. So Supreme Court recommended the restoration of Jammu and Kashmir statehood in December 2023. The court gave a specific deadline for the restoration of statehood. Statehood restoration is necessary to empower an elected government in the region. Jai Hind, sir. Jai Hind, Shrenik. I'm good. So again, yes, first statement is correct. Supreme Court recommended the restoration of Jammu Kashmir statehood. So if first is correct, eliminate B and D, you're left with A and C. Court gave a specific deadline for restoration of statehood. No, Supreme Court did not give a specific deadline when it has to be done, but they said that please restore statehood to ensure Jammu and Kashmir people are more closer to the people of Indian mainland. They feel more like being a part of India. Okay, so second is wrong. If second is wrong, you're left with, oh my God, you got the answer. And the answer is A, 1 and 3. Who stated A? Statehood restoration is necessary to empower an elected government in the region. So Shaida tried it, Gauri tried it, Shashmita tried it, Swastika tried it, Jeevan. Yes, I said it in August. There are speculations which are going on. This is not a specific deadline by Supreme Court. Supreme Court said it should be done. When it should be done, it's totally up to central government when they will do that. So there is no specific deadline for the restoration of statehood. Even if you go back, you will see that. See, this is not Supreme Court thing. Sources suggest statehood might be restored in August. So according to political murmurs, it is being suggested. It's not like Supreme Court is saying do it in August. Supreme Court said it almost 1.5 years back, but not a specific deadline. So hope you understood. Are you understanding, Shaida? So second is wrong. If you eliminate second, you're left with A and D. So you have to check first. First is correct. So the answer is A, 1 and 3 only, which was stated by only Rajneesh. Very good, Rajneesh. You stated it after I stated it, or you stated it before I stated it. Chandru also answered it. So again, a tricky question, a good question. MCQ 5. The main objective of a Truth and Reconciliation Commission is to... Is 3 wrong, sir? No, 3 is not wrong. That's why the answer is A, 1 and 3 only. Statehood restoration is necessary to empower an elected government in the region. As we have discussed, Umar Abdullah sir has too many excuses right now that why this happened, that happened, because he does not have enough power, law and order is not in his control, police is not in his control. So he can always give excuses. When you give them statehood, they cannot make these excuses. We are not saying they're making these. We are saying that they may make these excuses. So main objective of a Truth and Reconciliation Commission is to increase GDP through judicial reforms, dismiss criminal proceedings en masse, ensure military control over civil administration, promote healing, accountability and reconciliation in post-conflict society. So that is the basic aim of Truth and Reconciliation Commission. Remember these words, PAT, CCTS, what is the basic aim, energy saving, carbon emission saving or carbon reduction. So there were certain keywords in the previous editorial. There are certain keywords here also. Truth and Reconciliation Commission. This is the most important keyword associated to this particular opinion. Good morning, Rishi. Everybody was missing you. Sriparna, Mamta, Shashmita, Swastika. They were all like, where is Rishi? Where is Rishi? We don't want to study without Rishi. So now let's focus on the next article of the day. I will show you one PYQ related to this. Possibly oldest known comet streaks through solar system, page number 18, science page 2. So again, a very tricky article. There are certain keywords here. There are certain technical words here. So today's Hindu is actually very important if you go into the technicality. So what has happened? There is a comet. Now again, there are certain keywords which we have to keep in mind. Comet, asteroid, meteor, meteoroid. What is the basic difference, or what are the basic differences between them? Multiple questions have been asked by UPSC on comet, asteroid, meteor, meteoroid. So now we are talking about a comet which is known as 3I Atlas. So there is the naming of this 3I Atlas, which many people believe is the oldest known comet. Why it is named as such, there is a reason for that as well. And where were we? So again, there are certain other keywords here. Interstellar. What is the basic meaning of interstellar? What is primordial? So we have to understand these words. You cannot just skip it. So let's focus here. So this 3I Atlas, it has been snapshot has been taken by Atlas, telescope, which is in Chile. Atlas telescope. So that's why it is named 3I Atlas. Who took a snapshot of it? Atlas telescope in Chile. If let's say Galileo or telescope or some other telescope would have taken it, maybe it would have been 3I Galileo. Now why it is 3I? Because it is the third interstellar which we have witnessed. What is interstellar? This comet is something which has come from outside the solar system. or interstellar means between two stars. So, or in simple terms, this comet does not belong to our solar system. It has come from outside. Oh my God. And many people believe this is also primordial in nature. Primordial means it's very, very old. The time when universe was formed, this particular comet was formed, and it carries the same unique attributes which the universe was carrying during the time of its formation. So this is primordial in nature as well. Again, there are so many keywords. Oh my God. Actually, today we're going to Paramath to see Lord Shiva. Yeah, you told it. I remember it. Paramath. So happy for you, Rishi. You deserve all the happiness in the world. So now let's focus. And again, so 3I, this is the third interstellar which we have found. Third interstellar, third thing or object or entity means coming from outside the solar system. Why Atlas? Because it has been seen by Atlas telescope of Chile. Now let's focus on then what is the basic difference between comet, asteroid, meteor, meteoroid and meteorite. We'll talk about this. Comet, icy particles, and then comet are generally made of ice and rocks. When we talk about asteroid, they are rocky particles orbiting the sun. You will find them between Mars and Jupiter, asteroid belt. Then what is meteor, meteoroid or meteoroid? So this meteor, meteoroid or meteoroid, they are parts of asteroid or comet. But whether they have reached the Earth's surface, whether they are in the Earth atmosphere or they are in the space, if like based on that, they will be named as meteor, meteoroid or meteoroid. So again, there are so many terms which we have to keep in mind. Good morning, Priya. Wow, Rishi, Jai Mahakal. Shashmita is a big fan of Rishi. Okay. So now, discovery and tracking. Discovered by scientists using Atlas Survey Telescope in Chile. Please pay attention. This is a technical topic, just like the first editorial, but more technical than that. First track, again, you can read this. Interstellar nature means it has come from outside our solar system. Identifies as interstellar due to its high elliptical orbit, blah, blah, blah. You can read this thing. Its trajectory traces back to constellation Sagittarius. Oh my God, different constellation. What is our constellation? If you know it, post it in the comment section. NASA confirmed it possessed no threat to Earth. It will not strike, means, come and strike on Earth and kill us like dinosaur and all. Asteroid. Okay, let's focus here. It will exit the solar system after passing the sun and won't return. When you are talking about comet are icy particles mostly, and let's say if they go closer to their star or sun, they glow and they have a tail. Asteroid, they do not have tail. They are generally rocky particles orbiting the sun, found between Mars and Jupiter. So you have to understand these differences. They are very important. We have also discussed why it is known as 3I Atlas, third interstellar, third thing observed from outside the solar system and discovered by Atlas. Believed to be the oldest comet, and that's why it is said to be primordial in nature, belonging to the time when universe was formed. So again, like different keywords here. Okay. Scientific opportunity here, again they are talking about it provides a rare chance to study primordial material from another star system. Primordial, very old, from the time when universe was formed. Global observation campaign, blah, 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 blah. You can read this thing. And this you can also watch it. Amateur people like us, they can also watch it from naked eye in late 25 to early 2026. How awesome. Okay, then they have given some, Bol Bachchan, you can have a look at this. Let's focus on this. This is important. Comet, asteroid, meteoroid, meteor and meteoroid. As we have discussed comet, where it is outside solar system or outer solar system, or sometimes even from outside solar system they have come, like 3 interstellar we have talked about. And they are made of ice, dust and rock. When they go near the sun or near their star, they glow and they form a tail. This is a unique feature of comet. This is not found in asteroid. They are also made of rock or metal. They orbit the sun and they are generally found between Mars and Jupiter. This is important, sir. I will show you one PYQ which has been asked by UPSC earlier. Cool. So again, meteoroid, meteor and meteoroid. Pay attention to these three words. They are connected. So they are these meteoroid, meteor or meteoroid. They are part of comet and asteroid. But the difference lies in where they are. This meteoroid with a D, they are there in space. Small rocky material fragment, again smaller than asteroid because they're part of it. So they are in space. When they enter the Earth atmosphere, they became meteor. So they are entering the Earth atmosphere, they are burning. And after burning, if let's say some pieces are left and they reach the Earth's surface, then they are meteoroid with a TE. So remember these things, they are important. Hope you understood the difference between these terms. They're very, very important. Cassiopeia constellation, again a different constellation, right? So we are talking about Sagittarius here in this case. Now let's solve some question. Consider the following statement regarding 3I Atlas. It is the third confirmed interstellar object observed passing through the solar system. It was first detected by James Webb Space Telescope. It is expected to orbit the sun indefinitely. Three-eye atlas. Chepandis. And sir and ma'am, 36 people are watching, 25 likes. Why? Why do 11 people hate me so much? I love you like I hate you. Don't do that. Like, share, subscribe, kill it. Okay, so it is the third confirmed interstellar object which has come from outside the solar system, and that's why it is known as three-eye. Observed by, detected by Atlas telescope in Chile, and that's why three-eye atlas. So first is correct. Oh my god. If first is correct, eliminate C. It was not detected by James Webb, bro. Otherwise, it would have been named as three-eye James Webb. It is three-eye atlas detected by Atlas telescope, not James Webb. So second is wrong. If second is wrong, C. Oh my god, as Rishi will say. Rishi has given me this habit of saying, oh my god. So the answer is A, one only. It is expected to orbit the sun indefinitely. No, it is not going to come back. If you go back and see this, we have discussed this thing. Let's have a look at this. It will exit the solar system after passing the sun and won't return. So it is not going to orbit the sun. It is not an asteroid. So the answer is A1 only, as stated by who? So many people. Oh my god. Very good. Mansi Ojha. Let's solve MCQ 7. Shirshan. Oh, thank you, Rishi. What does the term primordial refer to in the context of astronomy? Material formed by the fusion of modern star, any matter found in solar system, matter unchanged since the early formation of universe or star system, artificially created cosmic material for research. Chepandis. Thank you. I cannot even pronounce your name. Can you tell your name in English, my Kannada friend? I love all of you. We should spread love. Why should we spread hatred? Primordial material. We are saying this three-eye atlas is primordial in nature. It's very old. So the answer is matter unchanged since the early formation of universe or star system. That is the meaning of primordial. So again, in science and tech, in space, these are the words which are very important. Let's solve PYQ 11. P means 8th question of the day, which is a PYQ asked by UPSC in 2011. Manasu, her name. Oh my god, Jivayan. Manasu. Jivayan, you know a lot. Mansu. Asteroids are small rocky planetoids, while comets are formed of, again, in these kind of questions, if you're confused, if you're like, oh my god, what fancy words, keep it in the loop, bro. Try to eliminate that particular option which you feel like this is totally wrong. This has to be wrong. Small rocky planetoids, while comets are formed of frozen gases held together by rocky and metallic material. Swastika. Bishwas. Asteroids are found. I am currently reading a book which is known as A Diary of a Young Girl by Anne Frank. Anybody has read that book? Anne Frank. Oh my god, that book is so sad. I feel so sad, but I have to complete that book because I know that girl is going to die. So when you're reading that book, you're feeling like, oh my god, that girl is going to die. So asteroids are found mostly between the orbits of Jupiter and Mars, while comets are found mostly. Comets are. Have you read anywhere? Comets are found mostly between Venus and Mercury. They are interstellar. They can come from here, there, everywhere. But asteroids are mostly between Jupiter and Mars. So half statement is correct, half is wrong. Then this is wrong. So second is wrong. So you're left with B and C. Third, you don't even need to check. First, asteroids are small rocky planetoids. Yes, this is correct. So the answer is B, 1 and 3 only. As stated by Anandu tried it, Rishi tried it, Gauri, Jivayan, Shiparna, Sirsan, Shashmita, and who else are there? Planetoid means features similar to a planet, but they are not big enough to be called a planet. So they are orbiting the sun. Basic feature of a planet or something similar to a planet, which is planetoid, is what? They should orbit the sun or orbit the sun, and they are doing that. Asteroid. That's what we have discussed. So you can also call it this. They're small rocky planetoids, while comets are formed of frozen gases, and that's why they're icy particles held together by rocky and metallic material. So that is correct in general. Like mine, sir, in English language. Very good. Cool. So, Shriparna answered it. Very good, Shriparna. B. Again, tricky question. If you go back and you will realize that you should have got this correct. But again, first statement is little clumsy. You can get confused between B and C. So, if you have answered either of them, that's totally fine. But yeah, first is correct. You don't have to go into the intricacies like planetoid I have not read, so this is wrong. No, no, no. Don't. But again, I can understand why that question, you may have got that wrong. Cool. Let's move on to the next article. You see, this is the third editorial or opinion we are reading for the day. So many editorial and opinion, oh my god. So changing landscape of employment. So again, they will talk about so many things, employment, this and that. There are so many issues. Again, we are fine. We will take into consideration whatever these two awesome people are talking about employment crisis in India, inclusive growth, GS Mains Paper 3. Agreed. But here also there are some keywords. Indian Education Service. Just like you have IAS, Indian Administrative Service, amazing book but makes to feel sad, exactly. So just like we have IAS, Indian Administrative Service, similarly there are talks related to Indian Education Service that we should create a new service known as Indian Education Service. What will be the aim of that service? To ensure that these education policy, when they are talking about NEP 2020, National Education Policy, etc., they are implemented in a proper manner. So that's why the talks are going for Indian Education Service, which was first, I think, even the National Education Policy or NPE of 1986, National Policy on Education or NEP of 1986, which has been replaced by NEP of 2020, they have said that we should have IES, Indian Education Service. Now, the current NEP, National Education Policy 2020, they have not explicitly, to confuse so many, I can understand. So, some days will be like that, Jivayan, the questions will be tough. IAS, nice initiative. So Shashmita is very much like, what is your view on that? Do you want one more service? You'll be like, yes sir, there will be more seats then. Obviously you'll want one more service. So the talks are related to IAS. Let's focus on this opinion now. So youth employment challenges, again they are saying stuff that there are lakhs of graduates which are graduating every year, but the jobs are not that much. Concerns about employment, and there is concern about employability also. Like people, and you will see some data, how many people can do work on Excel, how many people understand things, and that's why many people are like, you know, when some form comes, they go to cyber cafe, do this for us, do that for us. So that is an issue, and there are certain issues, we'll talk about it. EPFO, Employee Provident Fund Organization. So what they do, they have, like, if a company has 20 or more employees, then certain amount of money will be taken from your salary, certain amount of money will be contributed by employer, and that will be taken as your retirement fund. That shows how many people are there in the formal sector. In general, if 100 people are working in India, 90 are working in informal sector. Informal sector, 90%. And this formal sector, where you get regular salary, etc., that is only 10%. So they are saying that during COVID period, post-2019, there was a decline. Now the economy is recovering, formal sector is recovering, blah, blah, blah. But in this blah, 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 there is something interesting here. What is interesting? Youth. They talk about something called as youth. Now, youth is not a homogeneous word. Why it is not a homogeneous word? Because youth, definition of youth varies. For UN, if I'm not wrong, who is a youth? 15 to 24. For Indian, like government and their different Indian initiative, they take 15 to 29 as youth. EPFO, they are taking 18 to 25 age group as youth. So the definition of youth varies. Don't worry too much about it. Nobody is going to ask you about what is the basic definition of youth. So youth, this editor opinion is talking about youth. They are making up 83% of India's unemployed population according to International Labour Organization. That's fine. Not fine. The point is, these things we already know. Most of you, 41 people are watching me right now. More than 35 people, they will be knowing this issue that yes, sir, youth are unemployed. We know that. Unemployment is high, but we have to talk about something which we don't know. Core issue is unemployability. Many of us, they don't have proper requisite skill so that we get a job. And that happens in Microsoft, Google, they will interview, but they want certain skill. Even not only that, when you do NDA, when you do CDS, in ND and CDS, you have something called as SSB, Service Selection Board. And in SSB, they need something known as OLQs, officer-like qualities. If they have so much vacancy in lieutenant and all those posts, captain, etc. But they won't take you until unless you have these OLQs, officer-like qualities. They will keep those seats vacant. So this is not exactly same as unemployability, but you can understand. Until or unless you have those qualities, you won't get the job, even if the job is there. So the issue is not like lack of job is an issue, but the bigger issue is unemployability. We have to talk about this issue as well. So that is important. Anybody? Have you ever given SSBs? EPFO is a social security organization in India that administers the employees. Very good. Rishi is such a good boy. Skill gap crisis, economic survey 23, and these are the points which you have to talk about. Everybody will talk about there is no job, lack of job, this and that. You will talk about economic survey. They say only half of Indian graduates are job ready. You know, you don't have proper skill. In your college, you have just played Counter Strike, tick, 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 tick. So only by, okay. So many lack essential digital and professional skill, AI, okay. And AI and tech disruptions are happening. You are learning C language, C++, Java, C#, everything is coming and you're like, oh my God, this language has become obsolete. No, sir, no language is becoming obsolete. You have to focus on data, structure and algorithm. Read that and then every language will be a cakewalk. So you have to keep on updating yourself. That's what this opinion is saying. Without upskilling, the graduate employment gap will widen. And we have a tendency, take a government job, then we will not have to learn anything. We'll go there at 10 a.m., come back at 5 p.m. No, you have to upgrade, bro. Government or no government, you have to upgrade. And we are very lazy in that regard, we Indians. 90% of India's employment, these are the factors or the key points which you have to keep in mind. Employability, Indian education service, 90% informal sector. These are the words which we have to. Don't worry, Shashmita ji and Chandruji ji Vayana. What is happening here? Yes, our education system is crap. Okay. You people are doing gupchup gupshup. So contractual jobs are increasing but offer poor job security. All these things are happening. Let's focus on these facts. 90% informal sector, Indian education service, AI, etc. 75% youth can't send an email with an attachment. You may feel like, sir, we can all send. You are not 75% youth. Like majority of India lives in villages. You will understand where we are going with this. 60% struggle with simple file operation. 90% lack basic spreadsheet skills. I also don't like Excel. Spreadsheet is like Microsoft Excel is one form of spreadsheet. I also don't like it. I can do work on it, but not proficient work. So you can understand this is showing poor technical and digital skills. If we don't have these skills, how are we? Oh my God! How are we expecting to get a good job? So we need to work on ourselves. Rather than saying job is not there. Future job prediction. World Economic Forum is saying that अच्छे दिन आएंगे, अच्छे jobs आएंगे. That means good days will come and so many new jobs are coming. But are you employable enough? Do you have enough skills? That is the question. 170 new million jobs will be expected. 92 million jobs. Again, you can read these things. Net increase of 78 million jobs highlights both opportunity and urgency, but you have to reskill yourself. Now, there is a question for you people. World Economic Forum, they also came up with this initiative where they talked about reskilling. What is the name of that initiative? World Economic Forum, time and again comes with anything and everything. They have so much free time in their hand, with due respect to WEF. So what was the name of that particular scheme? If you know it, post it in the comment section. You can search that scheme, reskilling scheme. 2030. Last time I read, they wanted to reskill a certain number of people by 2030. See whether the things have changed or not. Recommended policy intervention. If you want to bring inclusive growth, if you want to bring employment, what we have to do? Education reforms. We read something in college and we have to do something else in industry. So there has to be a collaboration. That's what they are saying. Institution must be accountable for placement. It's not like we went to college, 75% attendance. What is 75% attendance? We should get job, bro. Accreditation. If like based on how much job placement is happening, they should be certified A+, B+, these colleges. Curriculum, mandatory idea labs, tinker labs, all these things should be there. You should promote research and innovation. Again, you can read all these things. And global skilling focus in now. This is the point. Indian education service. We talk about a lot of stuff. We don't implement it because we don't have a proper service. For administration, for police, for foreign service, you have something. So, same way we need an education service according to National Education Policy of 1986. As we have stated, National Education Policy of 2020, created after K. Kasturirangan Committee recommendation. They have not explicitly stated it, but there is implicit mention that it should be there. It will be helpful if you have one such service to attract top talent into the education sector. Let's say Sriparna, Shashmita, Rishi, Chandru, or Samriddhi and other people, if you go to this education service, you're already so much educated, Jeevayan and others, then you can go and you can say that yes, we want to implement this, we don't want to implement that, this will hurt the sentiments of local people, this and that. So you understand things in a much better manner. Again, open up education system to industry professionals again. And you can see here, India must urgently address this unemployability thing through targeted education reform, skill development and better alignment. At the same time, the most important keyword in this particular opinion is Indian education service. Keep it in mind. Reskilling revolution, very good. Excel is very helpful. We all should know it. Very good, Bishwas. MCQ 9. The proposed Indian education service is intended to train engineers in public sector companies, regulate the telecom sector, improve educational governance and policy implementation, replace the IS in all departments. Education is the basic to living life. I totally agree with you, Shashmita. So, proposed Indian education service intended to improve educational governance and policy implementation as stated by Shriparna and I think Rishi also, Risha, Anandu, Shirshan and others. Kirtana, Shashmita, Samriddhi, Chandru, Shaida, Sri Durga, Chelubonia, Gauri, Mamta, Jolin, Kharbudon. See, let's talk about another article, page 12. And again, this article is important because we have to talk about one scheme. So reaching Jarawa tribe of Andaman Islands for census will not be tough. Again, what are the things which are important? Jarawa tribe. Where do you find them? In Andaman Islands. Are they one of the world's oldest surviving tribes? Yes. What they are mostly hunter-gatherers, which are Paleolithic people, Mesolithic people, and some of Neolithic people also were. Neolithic people, agriculture started, but it's not like everybody started doing agriculture at the same time. Some of them were still hunter-gatherers. So Jarawas, it means Andamans. Are they part of PVTGs? We have talked about PVTGs earlier, particularly vulnerable tribal groups. Within tribal groups, there are some tribal groups which are more primitive. These PVTGs were earlier known as primitive tribal groups. Now they are known as particularly vulnerable tribal groups. 18 state, 1 union territory. They are found in how many PVTGs we have talked about earlier. Odisha has maximum number of PVTGs. So we have already talked about this, but this is not about only PVTGs. This is about PM Janman scheme and we have to talk about that particular scheme. So what is happening here? 16 census, they will be happening in 2 phases. Will be starting earlier in Ladakh because of their inhospitable climate and will be happening later in the rest of the country. So again, from census perspective also, we have discussed this earlier also. Census comes under, say very good Anandu. Census comes under I have made one article or video on article 246. We have discussed also article 246. Article 246 of Indian Constitution talks about union list, state list and concurrent list. So where do you find census? Census lies under which particular list? Any idea? Census lies in union list, state list or concurrent list. So these indigenous tribes, they are generally not very welcoming to outside people. They are not sentinelese per se, who are known for attacking outsiders, killing outsiders. But this PM Janman scheme, you will understand, the aim is to bridge the gap. We don't want to alter their living style and their culture. We just want to ensure that they are not dying of certain disease. We are very much concerned about them, and that's why this PM Janman scheme, we'll talk about it. Here the census is talking about conducting census among 6 main indigenous tribes. Do remember Jarawa, Andaman. What did I ask you? Census comes under union list as stated by Shashmita, Gauri, Shriparna, Rishi, Jivayan, Rajneesh, and Kharbadon. Tribal communities mentioned: Jarawa, Andamanis, Nicobaris, Champagne, Onge, and Sentinelese. Sentinelese are known to be very, very, they don't welcome outsiders, in simple words. All these except Nicobaris, all are classified as PVTGs. Remember it. They can sometimes even give you that Nicobaris are PVTGs, belong to PVTGs. No, that is wrong. Then they're talking about a personality, Ratan Chandra Kar, who has done a lot, and that is why this PM Janman scheme will come there. It is needed. See, in 1999, a measles outbreak happened. There is another point which is talked about, that if we are not interacting too much with these tribal people, then they will not be exposed to our diseases. So that is another rationale. But the second point is, if they have already been exposed to our people and they have got those diseases, what should we do now? So we have to do something about it, and that's why PM Janman. We'll talk about PM Janman. So Jarawa tribe profile, one of the oldest surviving tribes. You can read these things, population data. Slowly and gradually the numbers are increasing of Jarawa tribe, which is actually a good thing. Cool. Now, challenges with PVTG identification. We like their population, because we cannot go there because they live in those hinterland areas. But satellite survey and all those things are helping matter. That's what this particular slide is telling you. Satellite imagery, more direct contact, providing higher accuracy. But direct contact comes with its own set of challenges, as we have discussed. We have to ensure that their unique culture remains intact. At the same time, we also have to ensure that they are not dying of diseases like measles, malaria, hepatitis, etc. Andaman Trunk Road and all these things but it's a very delicate thing, to maintain a balance between their their exclusive culture and development, and them not dying of disease. So government is doing good job as far when you're talking about the present day, but yes, this is a very, very delicate balance which has to be maintained at all times. Now let's focus on PM Janman scheme, which is focusing on these PVTGs, which is actually very important from every exam perspective. So what is PM Janman? Pradhan Mantri Janjati Adivasi Nyay Maha Abhiyan. So these kind of schemes, they are important. They can even ask you the full form of the scheme. Launched by Union Government, you can see, centrally sponsored. Yesterday we talked about a central sector scheme. Yesterday only, right? What was that central sector scheme? If you know it, post it. So it is a centrally sponsored. That means not all money will come from center. It will be divided among center and states. And yeah. So again, development and upliftment of PVTGs. They can even give you PM Janman. What is the basic aim or the main aim of PM Janman? To focus on the development of PVTGs. Very good. 23-24, they have been announced. Cool. And they live, and again, see here, they live in remote areas and are socially and economically excluded, even among scheduled tribes. And we want to ensure their development. At the same time, we want to ensure that their unique culture is preserved. Target population 28 lakh PVTGs across 75 communities in 18 states and UTs. As Anandu stated, we have 75 PVTGs. This is a PYQ which has been asked by UPSC earlier. Odisha has highest number of PVTGs. Very good. Union list. 100% contribution from sector, central sector, 100% funded by center. Very good, yeah. Good initiative. I totally agree with Rishi. I can never disagree with Rishi. Let's solve MCQ 10. Which of the following statement about Indian education service is correct? Full contribution in the case of central sector. In the case of centrally sponsored, it will be divided among center and states. Yesterday, which central sector scheme we talked about? Which of the following statement about Indian education service is correct? It is an existing service under UPSC. It was recommended in National Policy on Education 86. It deals exclusively with engineering and medical education. It has been merged with Indian Foreign Service. It was recommended in the National Policy on Education 1986. That's what we have discussed. It is not mentioned explicitly in National Education Policy 2020. That's also we have discussed. So keep it in mind. So the answer is B, as stated by so many of you. Anandu, Risha, Shayada, Gauri, Rishi, Shamriddhi, Rajni, Shirsan, Swastika, my Kannada friend, I keep on forgetting the name because it's written in Kannada. Shriparna, Shashmita, Jwalin, Kharpadon. What is the full form of PM Janman? Gyan Bharatam Mission. Okay, Anandu. Pradhan Mantri, Rajneesh, Shamriddhi, they have given the answer. Swastika, Sirshan, Anandu, Risha, Shayada, again Rishi. So, Pradhan Mantri Janjatiya Adivasi Nyay Maha that is PM Janman. Very good. On Saturday, I gave this particular question to you as a homework. You have to answer this question. You people, I think somebody else, Sashmita answered it, I think in the comment section. So, Mahayana Buddhism, the features. Mahayana Buddhism, they treat Buddha as God and in human form, anthropomorphic form. Hinayana, they worship him in the symbolic form. And we have discussed this thing earlier also. What is the basic difference here? Like Shiva and Vishnu gods, we represent them in human form, anthropomorphic form. Same way, Buddha was represented in anthropomorphic form. So, image worshipping and rituals was a part of it. So, third has to be correct. If third has to be correct, now you are left with one. Deification of Buddha, yes. Buddha was represented as a deity. On the other hand, Hinayana, they represent Buddha. They felt like Buddha was not a god. Buddha was one among us. That was the basic view of Hinayana. Symbolic and anthropomorphic form, this you can also understand. We have discussed this, that in early 1960s, 70s movies, when two actor and actresses, they used to kiss, they used to show flower touching each other. That means something is happening, something. Now in like 2020s, 2010s, when Imran Hashmi, Shahid Kapoor, these guys, they came, they revolutionized Indian cinema. So now they show it explicitly. So this is, anthropomorphic representation. So Mahayana, you can represent with this. Okay, hope you are understanding where we're going with this. So, trading the path of Bodhisattva. Bodhisattva is a feature of Mahayana Buddhism, and these Bodhisattvas, they will help other attain Nirvana first before attaining their own Nirvana. So, all the options are correct. The answer is D, 1, 2, and 3. Cool. National Mission on Manuscript Heritage. Very good. You people are so good, just like a wow. And yes, sir, if you feel like you gained anything out of it, like, share, subscribe, kill it. And I will share this particular PDF along with the answer of these questions in my Telegram channel, Fun Study with Shubh. You can join it if you haven't joined it already. And cool. I will, if you you have good, decent enough score, you can post it in the comment section how many questions you got correct. Although today was a tricky Hindu analysis because of the tricky articles. Cool. And also, if you're preparing for 26, 27, 28, having any doubts related to anything, your preparation is going haywire, you can join any of the batches of ours, 26, 27, 28. 26 July batch, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Sale, and the class, this whole admission is closing on 15th. You can use my code SHS Live, you can get maximum discount. You already know the process if you have watched my Hindu analysis earlier. If you haven't, let me show you. And then will be go gone. How you have to join it? You have to go to StudyIQ.com, and then here you will go to UPSC English. Based on what year you are preparing for, 26, 27 or 28, you can join any of the batches. You can also go to view all courses. Same thing you can do by going to Google Play Store, downloading StudyIQ app, and then joining any of these batches. If you use my code SHS Live to buy any course, you can ping me on my Telegram channel, Fun Study with Shubh, or you can personally ping me on LinkedIn. I am not on any other social media. If you feel like on Telegram channel, everybody will know about it, you can ping me on LinkedIn also. And if you have any query, we can have a personal one-to-one interaction even on phone. So that thing, I have to give you because you have used my code. Cool. So again, 26, 27, 28, whatever batch you want to use, you can use it. And I have already shown you the process. The process is this. The prices will increase after 15 July. You will go to buy now. There are different variants and different features associated with that. Any queries, call on this number. Based on what you want, you can pick any of them. You can apply my promo code by adding promo code SHS Live. Oh my God. And then the prices of each of them will reduce by 7,000. Cool, sir. So, yeah, that's it from me. Thank you, Kirtana. 8 out of 11. Thank you, Samriddhi. Thank you, Jivayan. Thank you, Shaida. Thank you, everyone. Miracle explains are impressed with. Thank you, Rishi. Thank you, Shashmita. Bye-bye. I will see you people tomorrow at 9 a.m. Take care, be blessed.